Hi everyone, this is a very special time. Outside movement is very much limited. Many of us, most of us, find ourselves inside our homes with our families, our closest loved ones, but without any ability to wander around, to travel as we're used to going to our jobs, to obviously going to other countries. And we're suddenly going inside, going inwards, concentrating in our own homes, in our own rooms, in our own little places, and we have to get by. We have to find a way to get by. So today's Torah study is going to focus on the realization, the understanding that everything we need is right here and now, in the place that we're at, with what we have, with the loved ones and the close family members that we find ourselves with. We actually have everything right here and now. So that's the idea we want to focus on. We're starting with a famous Torah from the Keter Shem Tov that applies not to our situation, but we're going to turn it around and see how it connects to where we find ourselves now. So it starts with a verse from Psalms 37:23, and in Hebrew it's Me'Hashem mitzadei gavel konanu ve'darko yechpatz. So the usual translation goes like this. It's the steps of a man, the footsteps, how we travel, what we do, where we walk, are made firm by the Lord. He strengthens whatever it is that we walk and do. And he delights in his way, in man's way. So the literal simple understanding is that we choose our way, we go about our way, we have our footsteps, we have our choices, and God strengthens our choices. It's like a positive, optimistic verse. But there is a deeper way. That's the Hasidic way, the way the Baal Shem Tov reads it. And he says that we should read it in another way. It's not that God makes firm our steps, but that he actually lays the foundation for our steps. And the second half is not just that he delights or that he wants, he desires the path that we have chosen, but that actually he chose the path himself. So Ma'Hashem mitzadei gevel konanu means all of our footsteps, we think we're making the choices, we're deciding where we're going to go, but it's really him deciding for us. And if we get to a place we think we chose it, or we think maybe it's just an accident we got there, it's no accident, it was all led by him. And the second half, v'darko yechpat, it's not that he likes the path that we chose, but that it's the path we're going through was really a result of his choice, or his will. And the idea of this Torah is that all the places we find ourselves wandering the earth, if we're going to another country, we're going to another place, we're traveling, sometimes it's where we intended to be, sometimes it's we didn't intend, we got stuck in a certain place, or the road took us, in a different direction, and it was whatever it was. The verse, the Hasidic reading of this verse, is telling us there's no accident, and all the places you need to go, you have to be there. You came there for a reason. What is the reason? The reason is that there are certain holy sparks that you need to elevate. There's a very basic Kabbalistic idea that everything in reality, everything, every place has a divine spark within it, but those sparks are lost. They're locked up in the external physicality of the world. And if you go to a place, it means there's a spark there. There's something you need to learn. There's something you need to do. There's someone you need to meet. There's a good deed you have to do. And when you do that thing, you elevate, you release the spark that's hidden, that's buried in that place, and you elevate it. You return it back to its divine source. So one of the metaphors to describe this is that this whole world is like one big jewelry mine. It's one big mine. There are many, many jewels, diamonds hidden in the mine. And the reason our souls came down to this world is to find those hidden diamonds. And that's the real reason we find ourselves wandering around and getting to places that we don't know why we're there, but the reason really is that there's a diamond, there's a holy spark, and we need to find and elevate. Now all this has to do with traveling, moving, going around, going to places, reaching places, meeting a lot of different people. And then you have to look around, open your eyes. Where's the holy spark here? Where's the thing I have to do or learn or hear or say that elevates the spark? But what happens when we're stuck in one place? What happens when we're just in the same place all day long? We're in our house, in our apartment, with the same people, in the same places, and we can't move. You can't move anywhere. So now the Baal Shem Tov comes with a new idea. This is in Keter Shem Tov. We're learning Keter Shem Tov. It's Keter Shem Tov, Torah number 15. And here it's talking about certain situations in which we don't go to the sparks come to us. And he connects this very beautifully to the image of Yaakov, Jacob, the patriarch, as he's running away from his evil twin brother Esau. He's running away to the land of Haran, and he's going, and he stops in a place called Beit El, and then that's where he dreams about Jacob's ladder, the famous Jacob ladder dream. And when he sleeps, God reveals himself to him, and he tells him this verse. He tells him, "The land that you are lying upon, I shall give to you and to your offspring." So the land that you are lying on, I shall give it to you and to your offspring. So the sages hear this out, and they say, well, hang on, but he just slept on a tiny little piece of land. He didn't sleep over the entire land of Israel, right? The land of Canaan, which would later be called the land of Israel. That's a huge land. He's just on a tiny little piece of land. So, it's a funny question to ask, but it's also a good question to ask, because you can say that the verse could have said that you are lying within the country that I will give to your offspring, or that the country that you can see, or that you're at the edge of, and all this I will give to your offspring to you. But it's not what it says. It says that the land, the piece of land you're lying on, I shall give it. So the sages say what God did. This is a very deep idea. They say that God took the entire land of Israel, the entire land, and he folded it up. He rolled it into the tiny spot that Yaakov was lying on. This is the image from the Midrash, the sage's idea. He took all of the land of Israel and he folded it up and laid it all under Yaakov sleeping. So the idea we get from this is this. We get from this the idea that there are moments in life in which we're told you can't travel, you have to rest. You have to, in Jacob's situation, the sun set and he couldn't travel anymore. And there are other situations in our lives in which also the sun sets or darkness comes into the world and movement is prohibited and we have to stay in one place. So the idea is that when those situations, what God does is that he takes all the land, it could be the land of Israel, it could be the entire world. The idea is that in the future the entire world will be called Eretz Israel, will be called the land of Israel. It will expand. It's really the mirror image of the idea of folding up Eretz Israel in one spot. The opposite of this is the prophetic vision that the spiritual essence of the land of Israel will expand, will unfold and expand and cover up the entire world. That is, the entire world will be the dwelling place of God. So the idea is that in those moments of rest, all the different places in the world, and it's all going to be the land of Israel, it's all going to be, it all is, on a deeper level, it all is God's dwelling place. God takes this and folds it up and puts it right where we are. And all the sparks, the different sparks we need to elevate, we don't have to travel to another country, we don't have to go to another place. It's all here, under our nose, under our backs, under our beds, in our tiny homes, wherever it is that we are now in and we can't travel. And today there's something amazing that we have. We can actually see this or experience this in a very immediate and forceful way, which is that we have the internet, we have the global village. It's all literally in our palms, right? In the palm of our hands, in our smartphones or in the computer screen. And we have literally the entire world is available through this tiny screen. God has fulfilled this prophecy, or this idea, that when we can't move, he will take the entire land, all the different places we need to get to, with all the different sparks that we need to elevate, and he'll fold it all up and put it in one place right where we are. And so we have this now. So the idea is that now in our situation, we can't go to different places. What about all the different sparks that we have to elevate? There are so many things we need to learn, and we need to teach, and we need to do. We need to do this all now from our own homes. And we have the tools to do this. This is the internet, and this is our own minds and our own hearts. Inside we have everything we need. We just need to focus our mind and travel in our mind, because it's all here, it's all within us, it's all in our hands, in the reach of our hands, and we need to go to the different places. For just a tiny example, this is a good time to do matchmaking. If you think, we have a lot of time now, we can think about different people you know that still haven't found their soulmate, and think, what can I do for them? And maybe this is the time to write a few emails, to make a few phone calls, to ask them for, a description of themselves and what they're looking for, and spread it around. This is an amazing way of elevating sparks without moving anywhere. And there's a philosophical term called the unmoved mover. This is a philosophical description of God. There was Aristotle's description that the world is moving, but it's all moved. Everything is moved. Everything is both a cause and an effect for something, but there is an ultimate cause, the cause of everything, and it is not caused by anything else. This is God. So God was called the unmoved mover. And in the way we see this in the Jewish world, or the Jewish practical life, is the mezuzah. The mezuzah we put on the door. Mezuzah comes from the term to move, lehaziz. So it guards your home, right? Our home is guarded by the mezuzah, where we can't go out of our homes. The mezuzah is there telling us, no, you can't go out now. But the mezuzah is like the unmoved mover. It doesn't move. It stays in one place, but it gives you all the blessing that you need. It can move the universe. So the idea is that we can also move things in the world without moving physically from our own place. We're staying put, but the sparks are all here. We just have to think about it, put our hearts to it, put our minds to it. What can we learn? What can we do? What can we give? What can we help others without moving? The sparks have all come here, and we can move them and change them. Now, the Baal Shem Tov now connects this to another idea. This is an idea that comes from the Talmud, Tractate Sotah. It's page 47. And there's a saying, a very interesting saying, that the Baal Shem Tov connects to this idea that the sparks are all here during those moments where we can't be moving. And so it's a saying by Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says there are 3 graces. So the word grace here in Hebrew is chen. 3 graces is shalosh chinot. So what does it mean, 3 graces? So chen is one of the 8 words in Hebrew for beauty. There are 8 words in Hebrew for beauty. Chen is one of them. It's the most feminine one in a way. It's the shortest one also. It's just 2 letters long. And it has to do specifically with the very interesting, beautiful Hebrew term called limtzochen. Limtzochen is to find the beauty of something, and it has to do with when something finds favor in my eyes. That is, that I can see the very particular grace of it. Also, this word is used to describe precious gems and diamonds. They're all gems and diamonds are all called avnei chen, stones of grace, or graceful stones. So just like we talked about sparks being like diamonds, so everything has its own particular beauty. But again, there are many words for beauty, but the kind of beauty that chen describes is a beauty that is very subtle and can only be identified by particular souls. So why is there a person that someone likes and other people don't like? And what attracts you to your spouse or your soulmate? There's a special grace, a special beauty in that person that it's you that can find that beauty, right? It's a beauty that's in many ways in the eyes of the beholder. So it's objective. It's not subjective. It's not subjective. It's real beauty, but not everyone can see it. Some people can see it, some people can't, and that is because there's like an affinity between your soul and that thing or that kind of grace or beauty, right? The people of Israel are divided into 12 traditionally divided into 12 tribes, and then the head priest would walk around with the choshen stones on his chest plate, and they had the 12 different gems that corresponded to the 12 tribes. And the idea was that each tribe had its own grace, its own chen, its own shade of color and beauty, and he was able to put it on his chest, on his heart, and see the beauty of all of them. But for most people, it's finding the particular. It depends on the spiritual tribe you belong to. If you belong to one tribe, you find certain beauty in certain things. If you belong to another spiritual tribe, you find beauty in other things. Today is the first day of Nisan, the first day of the first month, and there's a tradition in Hasidut that for the first 12 days of Nisan, we read about the sacrificial offering that each of the leaders of the 12 tribes gave in the first year of the desert. So every day when we read about the gift of the tribe of Yehuda, and then the gift of the tribe of what comes after Yehuda, it's Issachar, and so on. So we say at the end of it, we pray, if I belong to this and that tribe, please accept these words as if they're this offering. And so each one of us is connected to a certain spiritual tribe and has a particular gem, a kind of beauty, a kind of grace, and not just on a collective level like tribes, but also on an individual level. So, going back to Tractate Sotah, Rabbi Yochanan says there are 3 graces, 3 kinds of beauty that are true, but they exist in the eyes of a certain beholder. And he says one is the grace of a certain place, a certain city, a certain country, a certain valley, a certain place, upon its inhabitants, or in the eyes of its inhabitants. So a desert dweller may find it inconceivable to live in one of the poles, or someone who lives in a warm country finds it inconceivable to live in a cold country, and vice versa. Someone who likes mountains finds it very hard to live on a plain. Someone who lives on a plain finds it hard to live in a mountain, and so on. But people live where they live because they find the grace, the beauty of that particular place. So there's a grace to a certain place, and other people may not appreciate it, but the people who chose to live there, they do appreciate it. Their souls are connected to the beauty of that particular place. So that's the first kind of grace. Obviously, you can see the connection that we are now in one place. I have many sparks maybe to elevate in different places in the world, but right now I have to stay put in one place. I have to focus on the grace and the beauty that's in this place where I am right now. Second grace is the grace of a woman upon her husband, or in the eyes of her husband. And we can expand this to generally the grace of either man or woman in the eyes of their spouse. Right? Chazal speak to men, and they speak about their wives, but today we should expand this to say when a woman refers to our spouse. So we find it sometimes hard to understand why one person would like another person, or why, but that's okay, because that person is not for us. But we see the special grace, the special beauty of our own spouse, and if we don't, that we need to work on this. We need to find that favor, to find that grace, that point of beauty, that aspect of beauty in our spouse. It's just like the place you choose to live. There's a soul connection to that place, and there's also a soul connection to your spouse. And the final one is the grace of a certain purchased item upon its buyer. There are different objects, the property we bought, the things we love. It could be the books we love. It could be the furniture we love. Every object that we have, again, there's a special beauty and grace there that you can see. Now the idea is that why is the Baal Shem Tov connecting this? He's focusing on the beauty of the place. And he's saying that, again, just like God takes the entire land and folds it up into one place, then finding that beauty is finding those gems, those avnei chen, stones of grace, inside the one place that you're at. All the different sparks are there. So we connect it to this, but we can hear a deeper idea going on here, and that is that think about Jacob. When Jacob went to sleep, and that's when God folded the land under him, what did he dream? What did he dream of? He dreamt of a ladder with angels going up and down. And the idea that I want to say here is that when we're, again, limited as we are now, and we're in just one place, and this is the time, this is the opportunity, this is the a kind of a gift that we're receiving, is really telling us you should now let go of the horizontal plane, the plane in which you want to go there and there and there and there and meet all the different people and accumulate all kinds of experiences. And we can't now. We're in one place. We're limited. But now is the time to open up the vertical plane. That's the ladder. A ladder goes upwards. A ladder goes deepwards. A ladder is, in order to go up or to deepen, you need to stop the horizontal kind of wandering around. You need to choose one spot, and that's where you dig your hole, or that's where you place your ladder, or that's where that's where you start climbing. Whether up or down, it's the idea is to deepen in one place. So the idea is that in order to find grace, the beauty all the different sparks that I need to elevate, really it's all about focusing on one place. The place you need to be, the objects you need to have, the spouse you need to marry, and once married, you need to go deeper and deeper into that person. So the idea is now that this is really an opportunity, an amazing opportunity to focus on the place that we are at, and to see its grace, to put a ladder and go deeper into our place, our situation. Why am I here? What do I have to do here? And even more, in a deeper way, it's also be satisfied with what I have. This is what I have. I can't really buy some new things now. I can't go out and shopping. And here in Israel, many places are now all closed up. And you should say, well, I need to deal with what I have. Also, many people are in economic problems, so they can't buy new things, even if they can, order them, whatever, and they would come. But their resources are limited now, so you need to be satisfied with what you have. And the deepest is, of course, to go deeper into your spouse. Sometimes having the ability to go out and go places is just really, sometimes from some people, it's an excuse to run away or to avoid their spouse. And now we have the opportunity to go deeper, and all the different things you're looking for, the diversions and the experiences, they can be found in your spouse and the conversations you're having. You just need to go deeper. And we'll end with just one small thing, which is that the word that we're focusing on, chen, is just 2 letters long, as I said. If you flip them around, it's Noach's ark. And in fact, the word chen appears for the first time in relation to Noach. It says that Noach found favor in God's eyes, and the Hebrew is Noach matzah chen. Noach and chen is a mirror image. And Noach is a perfect example of someone. There are quite a few examples in the Torah of moments of going inside. There are terrible things going on the outside. There's a flood. People are dying. The world is being turned upside down. You can recognize the world. You don't believe this is happening. Everything is so different. But what does it mean? It means now we need to go into our ark, into our homes, into our places. And it's in this situation in which we're told, Noach matzah chen. Noach found the grace, the beauty, the favor of what he needed to find. So Hashem saw his grace, but it's not just this. It's him now focusing on being with his wife and his kids and the animals he needs to tend to and the ark that he's limited to. He can't go anywhere else. And this is our situation. There's a flood outside, and we're all coming into our arks. And now we have to believe and see that all the different things we have to do, all the different sparks, it's all been folded up, it's all been put here. The sparks have come to us. They're all in arm's reach. What we have right now is exactly what we need to have. What you don't have, you don't need to have right now. Wait for the flood to finish. But this is what you have, this is what you took with you, this is what you had, you managed to buy, or what you have right now in your life, or, you know, what you can afford. This is all you need. And the people around you, it's your spouse, it's your kids. If you're alone, it's you and your thoughts and your plans, how to not be alone anymore, how to advance in your life. And of course the place that you are, this is your ark, and you are Noach. We are all Noach, and we have to turn around. If we have to go inside and sort of flip ourselves inside out, the whole thing is about flipping inside out, right? The whole idea of taking the land, or all the world, and folding into one place, it's like inside out kind of turning. The world has been turned upside down, but also inside out, and is now all here. It's in our homes, it's in our hearts, it's in our screens, and all the sparks, all the gems, all the stones of grace are right here for us to elevate. So this is our Torah for today, and I hope it benefits you. And I would love to hear your comments, if you have anything to add, if you have any idea, if it evokes a certain, different ideas you want to add, then please write it down. And please also like the video and subscribe to the channel, because it really helps. And thank you so much, and I will see you in the next shiur. I don't know when that will be, actually. This series is now over. We may return to just a weekly shiur from now on, but we'll see. So I'll see you next time.